So in today's video, I welcome to all the viewers in my next class, that is on the quadratic equation. So in this video, actually in the last video, I had discussed about some basic fundamentals of quadratic equation, in which I had talked about the quadratic polynomial. In a conclusion, as a conclusion, I would say that the last video of the quadratic equation was actually related to the basic concepts of quadratic equation, background of quadratic equation, and so on and so forth. But in today's video, I will discuss the topic how to solve a quadratic equation. And if I say that you have to solve any quadratic equation, that means I am going to talk about how to find out the roots of a quadratic equation. And you already know the number of roots of any quadratic equation is what is equal to the degree of the quadratic polynomial, that is 2. So in any quadratic equation there may be two roots, because the number of roots can never be more than the degree of any polynomial. So as you know, any quadratic equation is what? Any quadratic equation is a quadratic polynomial, and every quadratic polynomial has two roots, two zeros, sorry. So if there is two zeros, then there in any quadratic equation there will be two roots. So now in this video I am going to talk about the method of solving. What are the different methods of solving any given quadratic equation, and how to find out the roots, how to find out the two roots of any given quadratic equation, and what are the different methods to solve any quadratic equation according to the situation provided. So let's start this video just by defining the how to solve. So solving a quadratic equation, solving a quadratic equation. So I have also defined this thing in the last video. What do we mean by solving a quadratic equation? Solving the a process through which we find the two roots two roots of any quadratic equation is known as solving a quadratic equation. I'm using QE, which stands for quadratic equation. So if I say that solving a quadratic equation, and this means a process. If I'm talking about solving a quadratic equation, solving a quadratic equation is a process through which we I had missed a word here, that is which. So you can add here a process through which we find the two roots of any quadratic equation. So is known as solving a quadratic equation. So this is quite clear that if I'm talking about solving a quadratic equation, I'm talking about how to find out the roots of any quadratic equation, and that process is known as solving or solution of a quadratic equation. So in today's video I will discuss about the solution of any quadratic equation. So suppose you have given any quadratic equation. So suppose, for example, we have a quadratic equation. Suppose x square plus 6x plus 9 is equals to 0. We have any quadratic equation. So I would say I would do that I'll just factorize it. So you can factorize it by just by using the middle term, splitting the middle term method. So x square, and I can write 6x like 3x plus 3x plus 9 is equal to 0. Why I'm doing 3x plus 3x? I can also do 4x plus 2x, because 4x plus 2x will also be 6x. But I'm doing 3x plus 3x because 3x plus 3x will be 6x, and when I multiply 3x with 3x, I'll get 9x square. So that is the condition which you can know. I hope that you already know about this. So I'm not explaining it more, but I'll explain it further. So x square plus 3x plus 3x is plus 9 is equal to 0. So but just by doing the pair, so you can see that x is common in both terms. So here will be x plus only 3, plus here you can see that 3 is common. So I can do x plus 3 is equals to 0. Now you, in these two terms, x plus 3 is common, so you can take it common and get x plus 3 is equal to 0. So that means if x plus 3 is equal to, just divide this x plus 3 with 0, 0 upon x plus 3, then you can see x plus 3 is equal to 0, because any number when divided by 0, divided with 0, always gives you 0. So this is 0. So this implies that x will be equal to minus 3. So this is the first root. I can even call it x1. X1 means, because any quadratic equation has two roots, then one of the, it must have two roots. So one of the two is what? X1, that is minus 3. What about the second? Similarly, when I have divided here this, so here you can divide another, suppose, so the both roots will be same. X2 will also be minus 3. So both roots, x1 is equal to minus 3 and x2 is equal to minus 3. These two minus 3 are the roots of this quadratic equation. So this is the way I have got the solution. I have got the roots, the two roots of the given quadratic equation, that is x square plus 6x plus 9 equal to 0. And the two roots are what? The two roots are what? Minus 3 and minus 3. And these are what? Because this is a quadratic polynomial, so these are the zeros of, these are the two zeros of this quadratic polynomial, which is equation here as a quadratic equation. So these are the zeros. So these are those values at which when you put x equal to minus 3 in this expression, you will get 0. Definitely you will get 0. It means it will satisfy this equation. So those values of x which can satisfy any given polynomial will be the 0 of that polynomial. In case of equation, those zeros will be the roots of that polynomial or that quadratic equations. So another thing, I'm going to talk about the method. So you would be anxious, what are the methods, what are the different methods which can be used to solve any quadratic equation. So I'm going to that topic. So you can see methods of solving any quadratic equation. So we are going to talk about the methods of solving any quadratic equation. So the main method, the first method, I can say the first method is what? Factorization method. That is very clear that the first method would be factorization method. It means in this kind of method, in this method, we will solve any quadratic equation which is given you through the factorization. You know, factorization of any quadratic any polynomial, any expression you can factorize. You all have also studied this thing, the word factorization method, in class 7th, in class 8th, as well as in class 9th. So factorization, you are well into well known about the factorization method. You can factorize and you can use this method. Just I have recently used this method, factorization, because you have this quadratic equation, and what the method I'm talking about is the factorization method, the first method of solving any quadratic equation. So I have applied this method here, because this is what? This is the factorization of this quadratic equation, just like x plus 3, x plus 3. So through factorization method, I have got the zeros, the roots of two roots of this given quadratic equation. So this is the example of any factorization method. So this is what, this is a factorization method, but factorization method is of so many types. Mainly here the factorization method would be of three types, but I'm using only the first of those three. This is the middle, splitting the middle term method. This because in this method I have splitted the middle term, that is 6x, into two parts. So that is why this method of factorization is known as middle term splitting method. But there are two other methods even in the method of factorization of solving any quadratic equation. So what are those three methods? So I would immediately tell you. So what are those three methods? And if you focus enough in the class, you would know, you would have no problem about the understanding of the methods. So first method is middle middle term splitting method. This is the first, method. Another is using algebraic algebraic identity method. These are the second method in case of factorization. And last is the completion of square. Completion of square method. That is why this is the main method, because this is all-rounder way of solving any quadratic equation. So in the factorization method, we have three methods. The first is what? Middle term splitting method. If you have given any quadratic equation, you will what? You will do the factorization through middle term splitting method, as you can see the example here. So another is what? Using algebraic identity. So I will not explain this method because I have already given you an example, so you can understand. It will be more than sufficient. So another thing is what I'm going to talk about, the using algebraic method. The algebraic identity, using, you can use any algebraic variable which favors you. In that case, in the given quadratic equation, you will use the appropriate algebraic identity. And what do you mean by identity? All the formulas, just like the whole square of a plus b is an identity, is an algebraic identity. Whole square of a minus b, a square minus b square, that is a plus b into a minus b. So in the same way, there are so many formulas which you can apply to directly factorize any given quadratic equation. So these are very I think use just like a very applicable form of factorization. So you can directly use that. So this is also a method of factorization. And the last, I will take a detail discussion over the completion of square method, because it once again becomes very important. So I'll discuss it further. First and foremost, because I have told you the middle term splitting method, which you can see the example in the last page. So I'm going to the using identity method. That is the second method. So this is ABC. If I do this, so I'm talking about B, that is using identity method. Suppose you have given any quadratic equation x square plus 6x. I will take the same example as I have taken earlier. This is, and you have to find out the roots. I'm just giving you a directive that find the roots. Find the roots. You have to find the roots. Hence, by using, so you can just here do that x square, this is whole square of x, plus here you can write 2 into x into 3. That is what, that is quite clear that 2 3s are 6 into x, that will be 6. There is no problem. But 9 can be whole square of 3, that is equal to 0. So you can see the formula, that is you can see the, hence by the identity, by the identity whole square of a plus b, that is a square plus 2ab plus b square. So a square plus 2ab plus b square is equal to what? whole square of a plus b. So you can see here that in place of a we have x and in place of b we have 3. So you can compare this portion with this portion. So a square x square plus 2, there is also 2 x. In place of x we have, in place of a we have x, so that is x. In place of b we have 3, and here b square, that is 3 square. So this is in case of a b, this is a whole square of a plus b. So in case of x and 3, it will be whole square of x plus 3. So it will be whole square of x plus 3. So this is directly you can do x plus 3. So from here you can get what? You can get just like x plus 3 will be equal to 0. So you are getting x equal to minus 3. So both the roots will be minus 3. So this is what? This is a kind of method through which you can directly factorize any given quadratic equation by using a favorable identity. I am going to the another example. Suppose you have x square minus 4 is equals to 0, and you have to find out, this is also quadratic equation because the degree is 2. Whenever you will get the degree 2, that will definitely be a quadratic equation. So this is a quadratic equation, and that is also the pure because there is no x. So if there is no x, this is a pure quadratic equation. So you can do the thing. I'm using the using algebraic identity method, that is also a method of factorization, because already you definitely and finally you get a factorization, but by using the identity, not by the middle term splitting method. So this is also a factorization method in which you can directly use any appropriate or favorable identity as per the requirement of the given quadratic equation. So you have another thing, so you have to use another identity. Suppose you can see this is whole square of a plus x, and this is whole square of minus the whole square of 2. So what do you mean by this? X square minus whole square of 2. So a square minus b square is equal to a plus b and minus b, but in place of a we have x, in place of b we have 2. So I'll do x plus 2 and x minus 2 in the another bracket, so that is equal to 0. So from here, if x plus 2 is equals to 0, because if x plus 2 I'm taking and this x minus 2 I'm just dividing with 0, I'll get 0. Then clearly I will get x equal to minus 2. And similarly, if I take x minus 2 and divide x plus 2 with 0, then I'll get x equal to 2. So there are two roots. This is the quadratic equation, and every quadratic equation, I have told this sentence so many times in this video, that every quadratic equation has two roots. So this is a quadratic equation, so it must have two roots. What are the two roots? I have found this thing here, that one x1, suppose I say x1, that means the first root, that is minus 2, and another root x2, that is 2. So these are the two roots of this quadratic equation. So this was through the method of using algebraic identity. So this is the factorization method. So once again I'm telling you, for solving any quadratic equation we have the first method, that is factorization method, and factorization is done with three types of methods, that is middle term splitting method, another is using algebraic identity method, and another is the completion of square method, that is I'm going to tell you. So let's see, I hope this is clear, you can understand this very well. So I'm going to the completion of square, that becomes very crucial. So the third one, that is C, completion of square method. Completion of square method is very important, and I will generally explain in a very general way. I'll explain this, and if you, and I will say that you should focus over this method, because this is once again very game changer method. It can change the game, it has the capacity. You will get another kind of understanding about the factorization, because this is the main method of factorization. This is, I'm saying, I'm guaranteeing that this is the all-rounder way of factorization. It is out of the condition, this is beyond all the condition of any quadratic equation. It doesn't matter in what form in any quadratic equation is given to you. You can blindly apply this method and you will get success. in the factorization of any given quadratic equation. So this becomes very important. So suppose let ax square plus bx and plus c is equal to 0 be a quadratic equation, and you have to solve it through completion of square method. Suppose hence by using completion of square method. So completion of square method, this is the method completion of square. Hence what I will do, we have ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So first and foremost, and whatever steps I am doing here in the general form, in the general quadratic equation, you will repeat the same process in the questions as well. So first and foremost, you have to eradicate this a from with x square. So I'll take this common, or you can just divide by a with both in both sides. Hence you can see ax square plus bx plus c upon a. Also in the right hand side a, so I have divided by a in LHS as well as in RHS, so there will be no change. So if this is in this form, so you can separately divide in the this in this term, also in this term, in this term. So this is ax square upon a, bx upon a, once again c upon a, and anything is divided with 0 will get 0. So you can see that a will vanish by this a, and you will get x square plus b upon ax plus c upon a is equal to 0. So what is our way, what is my motto, my target actually is to convert this expression in the form of whole square of a plus b or whole square of a minus b. So there is all the plus sign, so there is no chance of getting whole square of a minus b. There will definitely be whole square of a plus b. So we will try to convert this expression, we will try to get the form of whole square of a plus b. This is the main thing behind this method. So this is the whole idea. So this is x square, so this is a square, that is quite clear, but the problem is here that you have to make 2ab from this out of it. So plus, so there is no 2, so I will just take 2 into, I'll just use x because in place of x in the formula of a whole square of a plus b, if this is a, then there should be 2a b, like that thing. So that is why I'm using this x first, and into b upon a, that is quite fine. But you have 2, this 2, but here this is, there is no 2, and you have added this 2, so you have to cancel it to ignore the any kind of variation in the value. So this is 2, so if there is 2, then I will definitely divide by 2, so I can maintain the change. So if you're just multiplying and dividing by 2, there will be no change and everything is fine. So and once we again we have c by a, that is equal to 0. So this is x square or plus this is 2 into x into b by 2a. So you can see that is x square plus 2a. In place of a we have x, that is also x, but in place of b we are getting b by 2a. So this is quite clear that we have a square plus 2ab, but in place of b we have this. So for making the whole square of a plus b, I have the lack of b square, that is b upon 2 whole square of b upon 2a. So I will add b upon 2 having whole square. So if you have added, then you have to subtract. So I'll just subtract the same thing to ignore the change. So this is, and you already have c by a is equal to 0. So you can see that up to this line, this is what, this is the formula of a whole square of a plus b. This is, you can see x square, that is a square plus 2a. In place of a we have x, and in place of b we have b upon 2a. So this is 2ab and whole square of b square, this is b upon 2a whole square. So this is what, this is whole square of a plus b by 2a, because in place of a we have x, in place of b we have 2a. So this is x plus b upon 2a having whole square, and we have minus this. So I will write it b square upon 4a square, and we have c by a is equals to 0. So from here I can say that you are getting whole square of x plus b by 2a whole square, or this is now b square upon 4a square, and plus this is what, if you have to equalize the denominator, you will just do 4a into 4a in both numerator and denominator, then you will get 4ac upon 4a square is equals to 0. So from here you can see implies that whole square of x plus b by 2a, and if I just transfer this in the this and this in the right hand side, this minus will become positive and this positive will become negative. So I'll get plus b square upon 4a square and minus 4ac upon 4a square. So from here whole square of b upon x plus b upon 2a is equals to b square minus 4ac upon 4a square. So you can write this down as x plus b by 2a having whole square, and you can do this as under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a having whole square. So this square will vanish from this. I mean to say I'm just taking the square root in the both side. So you can eradicate the square and you will get x plus b upon 2a, and you already know the whole square root is always with plus minus, so I'll write plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So you can take, so there must be two roots in any quadratic equation, there are two roots. So that is why I will take first I will take positive sign. On taking positive sign, so what will happen in place of x, because when I'm taking positive sign in both the side, there is plus minus but I'm taking positive sign, I mean to say I'm taking plus. So by taking plus I will get the first root of this quadratic equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c. So I will write x1 in place of x because of being the first root. So x1 will be equal to, when this is going in the right hand side, it will become minus, so minus b upon 2a, and then plus b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So the first root, that is x1, will be minus b plus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. This is our first root through the completion of square method. And another is what, on taking negative sign. So if you are taking negative sign, then in place of x1, because on taking negative sign I'm going to find out the second root, that is why I will write in place of x I will use x2, and in the same way I will transfer b by 2a in that direction. You will get minus b upon 2a, and minus, because in place of I'm taking negative sign, that is I will leave the positive sign but I will take the negative sign, that is minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Hence x2 will become minus b minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So this is the second root of the given quadratic equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So this I have got these two roots of this quadratic equation, that is I am writing here in these two boxes. So as by the completion of square method. So completion of square method is that factorization method which can handle any kind of quadratic equation. So this is the speciality, this is the particularness in this method. So you should respect this method because it is very important. So this is, and also I will tell you the another thing. If you write both, just like here, from here, if I use this thing directly, so I can give you a special bit of information about this. So you have x plus b by 2a is equal to plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So x is equals to, if I transfer this in the right hand side, I'll get minus b upon 2a plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So you can see that x is equal to minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So this is what you can write. What is the particularness here? I am writing both the roots at the same time. Simultaneously I am writing this down. So this is also known as quadratic formula. Quadratic formula, because it is used to find out the roots of any quadratic equation without factorization. You can directly use so quadratic formula. And this is also known as quadratic formula. And this is all because this formula was derived by Indian mathematician who was Sridharacharya. That is why it is also known as the Sridharacharya formula, popularly Sridharacharya formula. So you need to know this. So I was talking about the different methods. So first and foremost, I have told you that the first method of solving any quadratic equation is the factorization method, in which there are three methods: middle term splitting method, that is also a method of factorization; using algebraic identity method, that is also the method of factorization; and completion of square method, which is also the factorization method. But when you get the formula, this formula which I have written here, this formula, you can get the another method. So the first method is the factorization method. Another method of solving any quadratic equation is the second method, that is formula method. Formula method. Formula method. In the formula method, we use x equal to minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a to find out the roots. First, to find the roots of quadratic equation without factorization. So by using the formula method, you can find out the two roots of any given quadratic equation without the factorization. Although you have got this formula through factorization, and that is the completion of square, which I have derived in the last page. So this is the particularness in this method. So by the completion of square method, we have derived this formula, and we can directly use this formula to find out the roots without factorization. So there are two methods of solving any quadratic equation. First is factorization method, another is the formula method. Formula method is this method in which we use this formula, and we will take the value of b, a and c from the quadratic equation, and we can get the two roots by using plus sign first and minus in the second trial. So this was all about the methods. I will take some examples, but I will take the example in the next video, because this video has become very longer, so you will feel is stressed. So I will take some questions on the last video and on this video in the next video. Thank you.